is YAHEZEQUIEL Walker, and thank you for tuning in to the Real Time. Every city in America has sports facilities. Even if a major city doesn't house any professional sports teams, they have stadiums for large collegiate programs or semi-professional sports organizations. It seems that every few years we have news coming from a different city that citizens are fighting back against professional sports programs displacing residents for major stadium developments. Tonight, we will discuss the positives and negatives of building new sporting facilities in a major city. We start here in Ohio with MLS team FC Cincinnati. Now, I'm going to be hitting y'all with a lot of numbers. Numbers are boring as fuck. Just listing off all these digits can easily make us all look like that meme of that woman confused with all the math equations. But bear with your boy, and we gonna get this work together. In 2019, FC Cincinnati applied to change the zoning of the west end of Cincinnati to house its $300 million facilities to ensure the team's bid to join the MLS. Despite their horrible win-loss record and potentially displacing many longtime residents. Sorry, Louisville. The households affected were low-income renters earning less than $32,000 a year who simply could not withstand a major rent increase, according to a study. Another 17% of West End households potentially facing displacement were middle-income renters earning $32,000 to $50,000 a year, and homeowners with incomes ranging from $18,000 to just over $50,000 a year. Now, these are a lot of random numbers that basically mean, go away, poor fuckers! But FCC and all their affiliates wasted no time to attempt to right their wrongs. And please note that the majority in studies and statistics relating to the building of TQL Stadium were paid for and executed by FC Cincinnati. The Port invested nearly $800,000 into affordable housing in the Cincinnati area. And with FCC invested $5 million more into local businesses. When COVID came knocking, a lot of these plans were pushed aside, but TQL Stadium still continued construction. It is also important to note that these companies are putting money into building affordable housing. They are not guaranteeing these homes to the people they are displacing. With the financial standard for affordable housing falling just short of selling your organs on the black market or becoming a fucking drug kingpin, allegedly, these displaced citizens definitely deserve more assistance, and one woman is quoted saying, "I think it's great for Cincinnati. I wish we had a better place so some people in the community didn't have to suffer. Gentrification is a big issue here. I don't like that some of our neighbors were forced to move out. I just wish there was a better way." Don't we fucking all? And this doesn't even scratch the surface of the effects of the construction. Once we consider the ecological and environmental impacts of large construction projects like these, and the incredible amount of waste they produced, we almost could fill an entire episode. And maybe, just maybe, one day we will. And I promise, it's not all bad. The team started to perform better, and the local economy of the West End has improved greatly, especially in the food and beverage industry, which takes up the majority of entry-level job opportunities in Cincinnati. Tourism has increased, and the sense of community on Central Ave on game day is electric. FCC has begun construction on a new facility next to TQL Stadium, and more residents are being forced to move, and businesses being pushed out. And still none of these questions are answered, and these questions are being asked consistently across all of America. Let's take our story to Tempe, Arizona, where this past week, citizens voted against 3 propositions to build a new hockey arena for their NHL team, the Arizona Coyotes. But first, a little history. In 1996, the Winnipeg Jets moved their franchise from Canada all the way down to Phoenix, Arizona to gain a fresh start after having spent the last 17 years failing to achieve the highest honor in the NHL, hoisting the Lord's Stanley Cup. After moving to Phoenix, the now Coyotes started their attempts to rebrand their losing legacy. Since then, They have yet to win a Stanley Cup and have actually never even come close, having never even made it to the big game. In addition to this longtime disappointment, the team has gone bankrupt, and owners have tried multiple times to sell the team to very little success. This brings us to the 2023 when Propositions 301, 302, and 303 failed to pass. These proposals, equaling $2.1 billion, included a 16,000-seat arena, multiple hotels, and space for shops, bars, and restaurants in Tempe, Arizona. I understand the residents of Tempe voting against a team like the Coyotes, especially with the financial track records of previous ownership, ultimately leading to the team being owned by the NHL between 2008 and 2015. Somehow, the collapse of the previous owner, Jerry Moyes, involved the creator of Blackberry and will be featured in the film Blackberry, making it officially the most eyes on the Arizona Coyotes in organization history. Executives in the organization have been asking themselves over the past few days how everything went so wrong. Well, there's quite a few different answers. The most prevalent of them being the fact that the team has really never made any money. They spent their entire existence clawing their way back from financial ruin and being an ice sport in the middle of the fucking desert, which really is not a recipe for success. All of that aside, residents just want to, and I quote, don't want to be victims at the wrong side of the stick. All of these worries are valid because there are examples in almost every city in America. The Arizona Coyotes will play in Mullet Arena until their lease is up in 2025. What will happen once their lease is up? Can they strike a deal with another city in Arizona? Is there legitimacy to the rumors that they could share facilities with the NBA Phoenix Suns? These stories can be words of warning to teams attempting to rebuild in the near future. The people ain't going with it. Which brings us right back here to Cincinnati. The FBI has a couple of words for the city of Cincinnati. But first, recently stories have been making their rounds suggesting that the Cincinnati Bengals will soon be making a proposal to build new facilities for their newfound championship caliber football program. This is of no surprise as Paycor Stadium, formerly Paul Brown Stadium, isn't even really that old. But when it was unveiled before the 2000 season, it was already a bit outdated. And I understand wanting to keep up with the ever-growing standard of drunk adults yelling at grown men playing a children's game. But at some point, enough is enough. Link arms. Get rid of urinal troughs in sports stadiums. Fuck. I mean, seriously. I'd rather wait 3 hours than to take a piss than to have to deal with the humiliation of having to shoulder with the drunkest fuckers I've ever seen in my life. Nah, for real though. We really need to examine the cost of building new facilities will outweigh the negative effects of a large construction project. And there are quite a few negatives. If they follow the options given to FCC, we could see the Bengals anywhere from Newport, Kentucky, Riverfront, all the way to Oakley. Either way, it seems like the jungle may be migrating away from its longtime home on the banks of Cincinnati. We as citizens of this city need to really weigh the pros and cons of major developments like these. And even though nothing is official, the conversation has started. And it's only a matter of time until we are sent to the polling location and asked to vote on a proposition that could have detrimental effects to people in our community. Now, let's get back to the FBI in Cincinnati. I mentioned on previous episodes the corruption that the FBI investigated through 2018 to 2021, in which several members of the Cincinnati City Council were found to be lying and taking bribes from members of the FC Cincinnati board. There were some members of the port, These are all recorded documents that you can go and Google for yourself and open to all of the public to see how illegally the FC Cincinnati Stadium was built. From firsthand experience, I'm the garden director for Tribe Organization, so we have a plot of land down in the West End. From our personal experience, we have gotten to see the Port Authority give extreme benefits to people who can afford it, while people who can't afford it have to really, really scrounge up whatever pennies they can. Also, the people of that community of West End, they spoke the fuck up. They did not just let that stadium be built. They went to every single fucking meeting. When they say, oh, you gotta go and you gotta be involved in your local government. These motherfuckers was involved. Every single trip. You know what happened? Nothing. They didn't listen to them. You know why? Because they didn't need to. Because their pockets was getting fed illegally, according to the FBI. The FBI also then said this corruption extends into various branches into how actually Cincinnati operates as a whole. So whether it goes from the corruption of trash and how the corruption of our water to the corruption of displacing us, the people who cannot afford to live in the places we've lived for generations, to be moved out so motherfuckers can kick a ball is crazy. Absolutely fucking insane. And then to add even more on top, let's talk about the Paul Brown corruption. The Browns are billionaires. That means they could go at any time and they could get rid of $1 billion worth of assets and build $1 billion stadium out their $1 billion motherfucking pockets. Anytime. They ain't finna do that. Why? Because they could just wrap up a deal for the citizens and the taxpayers of Hamilton fucking County to pay taxes on an outdated stadium by the time it's built for over 20 motherfucking years. My first checks from Lifeguarding up until motherfucking 2-3 years ago was going to building that stadium when it was already built. And it was built like a piece of shit. That's just fucking crazy. I wasn't old enough to have a say in that. I wasn't old enough to vote. I was also not old enough to even know what the fuck is going on. You know what's different? I'm old enough to know what the fuck is going on now. We all old enough to know what the fuck is going on now. So we can either keep being soft and keep on using this mythical they gonna do this. Or we can be like, oh shit, I might need to vote. Oh, my homie actually has good ideas. They might want to run for motherfucking office. Let's go and try to support them because they got our goddamn interests in mind. Let's lobby for our motherfucking niggas. But it's right in front of our face. So we can either fucking eat all this bullshit up and be like, damn, we can't even live in Cincinnati no more because we can't afford to live here no more. Our home. Or we can fucking tap in and vote. Get really involved. It's annoying. I don't want to fucking do this shit. I really don't. We have to though. Literally have to. Or else we gonna get swallowed the fuck up. This is the gap. It's only going farther up and farther down. I'd be damned if I sit around while we just fucking do nothing and we actually are the ones to do something. So it's extremely important we take all of these conversations very, very, very seriously and ask as many questions as we can. Because who the fuck wants to tailgate in Oakley? God, that sounds fucking terrible. Oakley tailgate? You think a motherfucker from Price Hill finna go to Oakley to tailgate? Kick rocks. But I guess sometimes it is what it is. Good night, America.